Welcome to Rollin with Mike, podcast on wheels. My name is Mike Wilson, aka Rollin Mike, your host. What has been your, not in just building a family, but what strengths have you used? I'm kind of going there with maybe, some of the things you do in the community with the clients that you have in order to keep us like a close-knit tight.
Sure. So I think what you're getting at, Mike, is kind of doing our community rucks and that. So kind of how we got there, how I got there on the ideas of this is a couple of years ago, I went out to this training facility in Texas, in Dallas, Texas, and they had this Friday Night Lights event once a month. And it's just a way to get the community to kind of recognize and see what is going on at this gym, and kind of to draw support for what all they have going on, and to people in the gym to be around each other. So I want to do something like that at our gym, and we did start off at like a Friday Night Lights where we have like a free workout once a month on a Friday night. People bring their friends and family, and everyone kind of work out together. And it kind of moved towards it making it something unique to us, is that we would do like once a month we'd have some type of community ruck. And what is a ruck? Ruck is simply just walking with some type of weighted backpack. It has its roots in military culture, but it just has a long history of people just walking with some type of weight. Humans were moved to walk and to carry weight, and so anyone can do it, from my kids to older adults that are in 60s, 70s, 80s that have gone with us on events, and guys like yourself in wheelchairs, Mike. They can take the sidewalks and be right there with us. So now we have something that anyone can do. There's no limitations on who can or can't be out there. And if some people are healthier, they can carry more weight. If they're not as able to carry as much weight, okay, you carry less, you just walk with some water. And so we've done these events. So one, we get something to do that's healthy. Two, we get people around each other that may not work out. Like if you work out every day at 11 a.m., you may not see the 6 a.m. crew, or you may not see the people who are at 3:30 in the afternoon, 4:30 in the afternoon. Now you're at this one event where now people can mingle and meet each other. Oh, have you met Mike? Boom. Or have you met one of our baseball players, Aiden? Now you get around these other people, and now we grow a deeper community, a deeper bond with the people at the gym. So that's been a big success for us over this past year or 2 years that we've been doing these community rucks. It's just for people to be around each other, do something that's healthy, do something that's fun and a community based.
I know I've enjoyed it, and we get a lot of kicks along the way when we roll up. Very first one I went on, I believe, was the 12-mile ruck.
In Dunedin.
And Dunedin, right around the Fred Howard Park. And that was a 12-mile, and I'm like, we started out, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty, I'm in a chair, I'm going or whatever. And thank God it was in May, but it was a cool morning, so we didn't have all that heat to start blasting us right off. But I found for myself, it was a lot of fulfillment in the fact that I'm around other people. We're walking. No one's trying to outdo the other one necessarily. They're going at their own pace. And for me, being my first ruck since back in my military days, psychologically it was a little bit harder. It was harder for me than physically, to be honest, because it took me back to a place where I'd not really, there was a little bit of denial on my part, I guess, as to say, this is just different, but it took me out of my comfort zone, which was something good, I felt, because I believe everyone needs to be pushed and get out of their comfort zone a little bit, just to challenge and find something new. It may not always work for the same way for each individual, but it does something that psychologically, physically, and emotionally carries you forward. How did you stumble on working with challenged athletes or the wounded warrior athletes? That I know when I moved here, I started going to being at the VA hospital, and I heard through word of mouth at the VA hospital, someone that my brother had introduced me to because he was stationed over at McDeal, and I heard about Impact Fitness, and whether it was in the line of duty or whatever the injury may have been. But how did you stumble your way into that in the early years?
Like, I love to tell that story. So let's see, 7 years ago, a close friend of mine from high school, he had gone and served in the military, got back, and just a way to give back, he would volunteer regularly for the Wounded Warrior Project. Whatever they had going on, he'd find ways to volunteer. And he had messaged me, he's like, Denny, I have to get you on the list as a provider for a fitness location for Wounded Warriors. Would you be interested? He's like, there's nothing like it in Tampa. We're having a hard time finding facilities that would be open to welcoming Wounded Warriors for fitness, for working out. Do you think you'd be interested? Do you think you can handle it? I said, absolutely. So he, helped me get connected with the Wounded Warrior Project. He helped me, get our name on the list and, number, location, different things like that. A couple of weeks go by. I don't hear much about it. Don't get much. And then out of nowhere, this gentleman, Seth, reached out to me. He said, hey, I've been trying to find a facility up here in North Tampa that would give me a place to work out at. He's like, you were the last name on the list. You were the last page of the list. Like, this is it. And just by happenstance, he reached out to us, and we started with Seth training. And then he invited one of his friends, which invited someone else. Like, it was a trickle down to where we end up having, there was 4 guys in wheelchairs, and we started training for the Skyway 10K. And which was, the 10K race up and over the Skyway Bridge. And this would be the first year ever they allowed hand cycles in as a division. So they don't even know if people in a hand cycle can even get up the grade of the Skyway Bridge. Yeah. If anyone who's from the Greater Tampa Bay area would know that. And so we trained for it. We were lifting, we were doing conditioning, we were, on the hand cycles. And that's how you first got introduced to us, because you knew one of those guys training for it. And we just got to you too late. We couldn't get you in the race. But from that point on, you hopped in the group and started working out with us. And it really grew from there. Tampa being, the VA hospital, John Haley VA hospital here in Tampa that you mentioned, being the number one spinal cord headquarters nationally. A lot of people, a lot of guys that are in wheelchairs, adaptive athletes, end up down here for that services. So we're another gym that offers training, but not really the rehab that you would think about. More kind of what we've been talking about, a family-friendly atmosphere that you're being pushed. The music is jumping. People are pushing you to, out of your comfort zone. Those types of things that make you feel like everybody else. And that's really what it started attracting people early on, and we've grown that since then.
I will have to say a big thank you on behalf of you and Impact Fitness. You've really, I know just in talking to the guys outside of the gym atmosphere, whatever, we all rave about the relationships that we've been able to build at Impact Fitness, not with just trainers, but also with other clients. Most of us are in wheelchairs. There's 2 or 3 that are amputees. Nick's one of them. Nick's somebody that's kind of special in a way that he's, as a hockey player, challenge hockey player, playing on the USA team. I want to bring him. I want to ask you a little bit, maybe a little bit about him without going too deep or too personal, but also about other athletes, whether you want to name them or not, but that you have seen train and go on to have a career in professional athletes.
Nick is a great story about just one of our athletes and about one of our coaches, really. So Nick, his mom reached out to us a couple of years ago when he was in high school, that he had this dream of being on Team USA sled hockey. And he's been playing sled hockey, but he needed, to get a little faster, a little bit stronger. He had some, places to grow, some space to grow into making the national team. So he came in and really started training with us and got stronger. Just one of the hardest working kids in the weight room that there is. And throughout the course of the last, 4-ish years that he's been with us, not only has he made the team of Team USA, he's traveled the world now as a recent high school graduate. Yeah. And then not only that, he's become a trainer for us, which is just incredible. So not only he has a career path in 2 different places, like he can play, playing hockey for Team USA, and now he's a trainer. he's got a passion for working out, got a passion for helping people, and it's awesome to see it, awesome to grow. That's a big part of not why I started Impact is not only to help people out for their fitness, but also to give back to the community. And what better way is it than to offer jobs and offer kids up and coming doing these things?